Hey guys, and welcome. Hope you're doing well. We'll get started in a second. Just to flag up to you, today we're going to be focusing on upper body and swim technique. So partly because I've had lots of requests for that, and partly because I'm an idiot and ran into a tree yesterday, and I can't really use my right leg at the moment. So I'll give you a second once we've done the warm up to go and get some kit that you might need. In terms of kit you might need, if you've got any kind of swim cords, these aren't swim cords, these are very cheap things from Lidl. Don't know what they're actually for, but these bit of stretch in them, even just a TheraBand, even a pair of tights or some bungee cords or something. You need to be able to attach them to something solid. And then we'll be doing some various different swim drills, pulling in. So you need them attached to something solid. If you also have a stronger TheraBand, a band like this that you can do some actual pulling work on as well, that's going to be really useful. So there will be some lower body work, but predominantly upper body work. But as I say, I'll give you a second in after the warm up to go get any kit you need for that. So let's start off with the warm up. Now I'm going to show you on the wall, because if I lie on the floor you can't see me. You're going to be lying on the floor. So I want you to lie on the floor on your side. You've just got your knees gently out in front of you, and then you're taking the arm that's on the floor, stretching that out away from your body, and then take the other arm as far as you can, stretching, stretching, stretching. And from there, this top arm is going to trace a circle on the floor if you can, but if you can't keep your hands on the floor all the way around, that's absolutely fine. Don't force it. So you're just going to do 3 circles, building up that range, so never forcing it. If you have to come away from the floor or the wall in my case, absolutely fine. But hopefully each time you go, you're just getting a little bit more range of motion. It feels a little bit more comfortable. Then let's just do 1 back in the other direction. Perfect. So now, staying on that same side, you're going to take both knees. I'm obviously standing on one of them, so I can't. You're going to take both knees just out in front of you, and you're going to pin that top knee with your bottom arm. Now, it's important as you do this that we're going to open out, but you don't want that top knee to slide back. So even put your hand over the 2 knees, feel the front, and don't let that top knee slide back. Okay, so you pin that top knee, you're taking that upper arm, the arm that's on the top, as far as you can forwards, and then you're opening up towards the floor behind you. Okay, and again, so reach, 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 and then open up, follow the hand with your nose. Now you might be feeling the stretch through here, you might be feeling the stretch through here. Different people are tight in different places. We'll go 1 more. So reach and open out. Now the reason for doing this before swimming particularly is to make sure we're getting that stretch into the chest here, because we want to be able to loosen up that whole area, loosening up the upper body. So now we're going to go exactly the same on the other side. I can't bend this leg, but you're going to have your knee bent in front of you just comfortably. We'll start with these 3 circles. So I'm a little bit tighter there, maybe partly because of the tetanus jab in my arms today. All the way through. Again, not forcing it. If you can't touch the floor all the way, that's fine. Just building up the range of motion. Then we'll go back 1 time. And then again, taking both knees out in front of you, pin that top knee with the bottom hand. Make sure the top knee doesn't slide back. Reach out in front of you. For anybody who's late joining, you're doing this lying on the floor. I'm just demonstrating on the wall so you can see me. Good. Hold it there. So feel that stretch all through there, maybe through there. Let's go a few more. Lovely. 1 more. Perfect. And then just to make sure we definitely have opens out that chest, take the hands onto the hips, pushing the elbows forwards, getting a stretch across the front. Okay, so now we're going to start to engage the muscles in our upper back, which are really important for swimming. So taking your hands to the sky or to the ceiling, leaving the thumbs towards the wall or whatever behind you, starting to feel those muscles between the shoulder blades engage. Holding it for about 5 seconds there. So feeling the shoulder blades coming together and down, making sure you're not tensing up through the shoulders. You can also do this one if you've got a TheraBand to hand. You don't want it to be too tough. It's just a light band to add in a little bit of resistance so you get to feel those muscles working. This isn't a strength exercise. This isn't about trying to split the band in half. We're just waking up those muscles. They get turned off when we're sitting over our computer, over our phone like this, waking up those muscles in our upper back. Lovely. Then quickly into a bit of hip extension. So taking your legs apart, and then just drawing up at the front, feeling a stretch into the front of the hip there. So you're pushing forwards with the glute, just feeling a stretch, release. We'll go for 2 more. So if anybody's just joined, we're doing an upper body focus session today. So once we finish doing the hip extension, if we just do the other side, I'm going to give you a minute just to run off and get some things if you need them. Otherwise, I'll be carrying on doing some glute exercises. So ideally a TheraBand, or if you have swim cords or something like that, we're doing a swim upper body focus session, more technique than strength. But if you have a stronger band as well that you can do some pulling on, then that would be great as well. And then you need it securely attached. I'm sure we've all seen the video going around on the internet of the guy doing the TheraBand exercise and the door full pull with the hinges on top of him. None of that today, please. Okay, so run off and get some stuff if you need it. Otherwise, we're going to just go into some glute raises on the floor. So let me bring you down onto the floor with me. So lying on your back, setting yourself up for your glute raises. So making sure you've got that straight line from the knee down to the shoulder, pushing the hips up, making sure it's a straight line. We're going to hold it for a minute on each side. So people running off to get stuff now have 2 minutes to get their stuff. So just keep pushing up through the hip. I'll give you a 30-second warning in case you want to swap legs then. If you don't have the strength yet to be able to do this on one leg, absolutely fine to be going on 2 legs. So if you need to be 2 legs on the floor, absolutely fine. Take breaks when you need to. This is about quality, not quantity. Make sure those hips aren't dropping down, so keeping that straight line all the way through. And then this other leg should be just gently straight out in front of you. Lovely, that's 30 seconds. So if you need to swap, swap. If you want to make it a bit more interesting, we can go into raises now. So if you're still on the same side, we're doing a minute if we can. But if you want to alternate between them, that's fine as well. Sorry, people on Instagram, you're very close to me now. You'll be up on the top again in a second, and you'll be able to see a bit better there. Let me move you back so you guys carry on. Into those glute raises. Lovely, then swapping legs. I'm not going to swap legs because I can't use this right leg, so I'm going to have a nice strong left glute, but otherwise 1 minute on the other side. So sorry, just hold it. We're doing 30 seconds holding on your other leg, and then we'll go into optional raises from there. Lovely. So then if you want to swap legs, swapping legs. If you want to just stay in the hold, stay in the hold. If you want to go into the raises now. Oh, I've never done 2 minutes on one side before. I'm certainly starting to feel that now. So as I always say, don't go too hard. I'm going to take a quick break while you finish that off and set up the computer for the next set. There we go, coming back up to higher level. Okay, good, and finish there. So we're going into some swim cord focus work. As I say, it doesn't need to be anything too amazing and technical. It doesn't need to be proper swim cords, bungee cords, TheraBands, Paratites, just something that's securely anchored. So we're going to start off with breaking down the swim stroke. So this is all about technique. This isn't about strength, this is technique. Starting off the swim stroke, if you want to be lying on one of those balls or on a coffee table or something, go for it. But personally, if you can get yourself into a nice, comfortable hinge position, using those hamstrings behind you, making sure the upper body is straight so you're not rolling over, you're not hurting your lower back. So obviously take a break if you're feeling it in your back and reset your position. But otherwise going into that hinge position, starting off with your arms straight out in front of you. We're going one side at a time, and we're just doing the catch. So we're just doing that first bit of the stroke. So focusing on, sorry, just setting the alarm. So we're going to do 30 seconds on each side, just breaking down the stroke. So thinking about, imagine we're in the water, thinking about things like that finger just tips over. So we talk about tipping the finger over the barrel. Imagine you've got that water there, keep it slow and controlled. This is about neuromuscular pathways, not strength. So we're building up the technique. I'd really recommend, if you're doing this another time, if you're playing this back on the video, if you can get your laptop or whatever set up, so let's swap sides now, with some videos of some good swimmers on there. So if you check the Swim Smooth website, or whichever form of swimming you like to follow, check that and you'll be able to see some nice videos of people doing good swimming. It's really going to help to build up those pathways, focusing on good technique. So we're tipping the fingers over the front. We're thinking, I'll show you on this side because it's easier, fingers below wrist, wrist below elbow. So making sure we're not letting our elbow drop down as we just tip over at the front of the stroke. Okay, so we're just finishing on that side. Lovely. Now we're going into a sequence I call the twirl sequence, just to help you remember. So this is the T, arms out to the side, bringing the shoulder blades in behind us. So just as we were in the warm-up, arms out to the side, shoulder blades coming together and down. I'm a bit wonky if you're watching. Broke my collarbone, another of my little injuries. Holding it for a few seconds. So it's not like this and it's not like this. It's shoulders coming slowly together and down. Sorry, shoulder blades coming slowly together and down. Hold for a few seconds. Get that engagement at the back there. Okay, from there, if you've got something, and it doesn't matter if you've only got kind of light swim courts, but from there we're taking it into a pull. So we're doing a row exercise. So again, you can go into that hinge or you can go into a high squat, whichever's more comfortable. Arms straight out, holding on to ideally a slightly stronger TheraBand, pulling in towards you. Hold it for a second and then go again. Now it's going to completely depend on, well, your arm strength, but more to the point, how strong the band is, how long the band is, how many of these you need to do to have an impact. We're just going to go for the same 30 seconds on here, because everybody's going to be on a different setup. What I really want you to be focusing on is feeling these lats, these big muscles here, and back of your rib cage almost. Those are what's working. That's what you use to pull in towards you. So if you think about those shoulder blades coming together and down, as you pull in, you should feel that muscle, or that pair of muscles working. Now these are our main strength muscles in swimming. We often, and we're going to go on to the next part of the stroke in a second, we often think we're working hard because we're getting tired shoulders, but we're actually doing it wrong. So we want to feel these lats working, and now we're going to take that into our pull and take that through. So going back to your swim cords, or you might be on the same band, that's absolutely fine. Into that bent over position, and now we're doing the catch through to the pull. So we've got our fingers tipping over the barrel, making sure we've got that high elbow still, so fingers below wrist, wrist below elbows as we pull in. And we're just coming into about there. As we pull, imagine you can feel yourself pulling that water in, and try and make sure that as you pull, you're pulling from those lats. So what you don't want to do is push down with a straight arm like that. I can certainly feel my shoulders working. I feel like I'm working hard, but that is not what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to pull in with that high elbow, use those lats muscles at the back. They are so much stronger than your shoulder muscles. So this is what we're trying to achieve in our swimming. Let's swap sides. You don't have to swap legs. No idea why I just swapped legs there. So fingers tip over, pulling in, using your lats. Thinking about making sure that you've really got that pull muscle doing the strength work. If you carry on and let me just show you, if I was trying to, imagine I'm trying to get myself out of the swimming pool. I'm at the lane end, I could either push down with straight arms to push myself out, or I could go like that. Which choice are you going to go with? You're going to go with that, because that is your strong position. That is a very weak position. So when we try and swim with a straight arm, we're making things a lot harder for ourselves. When we can get that catch, that pull in, it's going to be so much stronger. Lovely. So we've done the catch and the pull. Now we're going to go into, I'm just going to bring you down a level. So now we're going to go into some core and some glute work. So you can either be in a 4-point kneeling on the floor, and then you're going to take one leg out behind you, or into a plank and take one leg out behind you. Either way, we're doing 30 seconds on each leg. So let's go now. 30 seconds. Just have to get where you can see me. Moving that leg, thinking about engaging the core. If you need to take a break, if you feel that your core's working too hard and you start to feel it in your back, please do take a break. But otherwise, we should feel our core working. We should also feel that glute muscle in the moving leg working. Now glutes, I know that you know I'm obsessed with glutes. They're really important for our running and cycling, top legs. but they're also really important for us swimming. So often when I'm watching people swim, I'll see them kicking like this, and you see a whole load of, splashing going on behind them. They look really powerful, but they're kicking with a bent knee, and that means they're creating a whole load more drag in the water. This knee is dragging down. So what we want is that powerful little kind of flutter kick from the glute muscle. So really key muscle to be using, to be engaging pretty much in the same way that we're just doing there. Lovely. So we've done the catch, we've done the pull, moving you back up. You can see my lovely radiator covered in masking tape, waiting for painting. So the catch and the pull, now we're doing the push. So this is the one, if you know the drill otter, this is one where you really see the triceps working. So starting with that high elbow position and pushing back. We're just doing that stroke at the back. So you should be feeling it in your triceps, pushing through, thinking about keeping the hand flat. So if there's somebody behind me, they'll be able to see that palm of the hand as I push back. It might be a bit dependent on your swim cord setup, how you're holding things, how easily you can do that. But thinking about catching them, well, we've already caught the water, but we're pushing that wall of water back behind us. You can certainly feel my triceps working there. Lovely, let's switch sides. So just that back part of the stroke, pushing back, showing the hand to the person in the lane behind us. And I know you feel like a wally standing here, wherever you are with your setup, but visualize it as the water. As I say, this is about neuromuscular patterning. This is about brain to body coordination, trying to get our body comfortable, familiar with these actions, so that when we get back in the water, it doesn't feel quite so unfamiliar after however many months or whatever of not swimming. Lovely. Completely forgotten about my twirl, haven't I? So we did the T, we're going into the W now. So making a W shape, shoulder blades coming together and down, hold for a few seconds and relax. So if we keep on going with that. Now these muscles at the back are really important to our swimming, to our general posture and everyday, health, but to our swimming. If you carry on going, I'll just explain. So if I was to circle my arms like this, and if I've got really bad posture and I'm kind of all rounded forwards, you'll find that those arms circle through. If I now get those postural muscles at the back there that you're engaging with your W's engaged, as I swim, my arms are coming straight forwards. So I didn't think at all about where my hands went, I just changed what was going on at the back there. And that's given me that stability, that support, so that as I'm swimming, my arms aren't crossing over. If my arms cross over, my legs end up crossing over, and I'm essentially going down the pool like this, which is really inefficient and can be putting some more strain onto my shoulder in terms of injuries. So that's why we don't want to, that's why we want to engage those back muscles. Okay, next exercise. If you have a step, brilliant. If you don't have a step, you can do this on the floor. So standing on your step if you have it, we're just pushing back. You may have done this at the side of the pool before. If you're on a step, you can point your toe as you would when you're swimming. If you're on the floor, just have your foot bent. And we're not coming all the way forwards. The leg only comes to hang straight down, but I'm pulling back and I'm using my glute muscle to do it. Now make sure, take a quick look down and make sure when you feel something go back behind you, it's not just that you're pushing back with a bent leg. I want this thigh to separate from the other thigh as I use my glute to pull back. So exactly the same as I would in swimming, using that glute to pull back to get that kick going, rather than, as I say, if you're doing it with a bent leg, then you're just creating loads of drag. Let's swap sides. Thinking about your posture as well. So making sure we've got that neutral pelvis as we pull back. We don't want to kick over the fan behind us, but we don't want to just be tilting forwards like that. I'm not using my glutes to do that. That's me just tilting my whole body. I want to make sure I keep drawing up at the front, keep my posture or keep my pelvis in neutral. So thinking about making sure the front waistband is level with the back. As I pull back, I could just start to feel myself bending the leg there. So checking in on yourself, making sure it's that bum muscle pulling back. Okay, so we've done each bit, or we haven't done the recovery, but there's not a lot of point in doing that because we haven't got the tension to work on. So now we're going to go into the full swim stroke. Now we're going to start one arm, whichever arm you prefer. So we're starting from the front, tipping over at the front, doing that catch, and then pushing all the way back. Don't worry about the recovery, just coming back as is comfortable, making sure that as you go, you're keeping that high elbow. So imagine, you know those big yoga balls, Swiss balls, Pilates balls, whatever you want to call them. Imagine you've got one of those under your armpit. So as you come over, keep that big circle under there until you're pushing through. Lovely, swapping sides. So with all of this, we're looking for quality, not quantity. It's going to depend on your setup, how hard you're working, how tight your quads are, if you're using your pair of tights or whatever. So adapt based on how that's feeling for you. Lovely. So then we are going back to our twirl, this time in A. So it's just T-W-A-Y-L, which is the way of remembering it. So back to our A, pulling the shoulder blades together and down. This one feels kind of harder to do because you feel like there's less moving, but it's certainly engaging. Lovely, then back to the swim corners again. And now we're putting it all together. So go as slowly as you want. This isn't about going some high stroke rate or anything at this point. It's about getting those happenings. So starting, tipping the fingers over, keeping that yoga ball there, pushing through, then onto the other side. And don't worry too much about the rate of recovery. It feels very different because you haven't got the water involved. Now, if you want to, you can start adding in some rotation here. So thinking of that full body rotation, even adding in the hips working as well. If you want to, you can be adding in breathing. So particularly if you're somebody who struggles with bilateral breathing and you tend to just always breathe to the same side, either try breathing to your wrong side or try that breathing every 3. Obviously, you're not worrying about the oxygen getting in at this point, not worrying about your breathing technique. You certainly could. You could be thinking bubble, bubble, breathe, breathing out into the water. You're probably going a bit slow with your stroke rate now though. But work on what you need to work on. A little bit longer on this. I can feel my elbow drop in there. So keeping that high elbow as we pull through. Good work. Into the L of twirl. So arms out. I always get confused with my reflection at this point. Anyway, into the L of twirl, and then again, shoulder blades coming together and down. This one's probably a slightly easier one to feel those shoulder blades working. Holding it for a few seconds, relaxing and going again. This is a really good one just to do at your desk, just to wake up that upper body. You might feel a slight stretch across the front, but it's really about waking up those stability muscles at the upper back that are so important for our posture. Lovely, back onto the glute engagement. This time we're starting with the same flutter kick. Well, we're starting with the ballet kick that we were doing before. So the leg hangs down, we're using our bum muscle to pull it back, making sure that we're completely happy with that motion, making sure it is our glutes doing the work, keeping that neutral pelvis, so making sure we're not tipping like that, sticking our bum out behind us. So thinking waistbands at the front, doesn't want to drop down as the leg comes back. And then from there, turning it, I can't really stand on my right leg, so this isn't going so well, but into a nice fast flutter kick. Yeah, I'm going to give up on that, but fluttering, so fast, power, making sure again you're working through the glute, not your hamstring. Lovely, so now let's go on the other side, pulling back. So I've just got a few little stitches in my leg there where I managed to walk into a tree, as you do I'm avoiding cycling to make sure that I'm not putting any strain on the LHS and I managed to impale myself on a tree. So I'm banned from using my leg muscles, or my quads at least, for the next week or so. Lovely, into that flutter kick, working from the glutes, so trying to get some speed in there. Good work. So now if you've got that stronger TheraBand, we're going back into the pull. Now again, you can double it up to make it harder. The number of reps is really going to depend on what kind of resistance you have. So adapt for you. I'm going just with about 30 seconds now, but work with what works for you. Make sure as you pull that you're thinking about using those lats muscles, those big muscles at the back, to do the pulling in. Even if you're not working hard enough, if your band's not strong enough to really be getting any strength engagement here, it's still good to be getting those lats working. The annoying thing about, many annoying things about lockdown, but in terms of the swim exercises, there's a limit to how much you can engage your lats with body weight stuff. There's almost, we can do a body weight exercise for pretty much everything, but to get these lats working at back here, that's certainly a lot harder. So at least getting them working, doing some sort of engagement, even if we're not doing a strength exercise. Lovely. So we're going back to the beginning again. And it's just all about patterning here, about repeating things. So we're going through the beginning of the stroke, so the catch, tipping the fingers over. Obviously it's going to completely, if you're holding on to a band like that, you're not going to be able to tip as such, but still get the wrist in the right position, and visualize. Visualize, I do a whole seminar on sports psychology kind of tips and tactics. And one of the main things that so many people use, both at a high end level, but not the likes of you and me as well, is visualization. So imagine that you're in the water, just getting that catch coming in at the front there, tipping over the front, and then pulling the water, or just starting to catch the water. Swapping onto the other side. Those of you who hate sculling, I'm not going to make you do any skull drills here. That really is about getting that feel for the water, which is a little bit harder to do without the water. So this is more about the patterning, the position. If you're able, so I'm filming myself to film it for you guys right now, but if you're able to set up a laptop or something to film yourself, that's just showing you what you're doing, or a mirror, that can be really helpful to make sure that you can see what you're doing in real time. If you film it, you can obviously look at it afterwards, but actually doing it in real time can be really helpful. Lovely. So from there, we're going into the pull. So we're doing catch through. So the catch, tipping over, and then pulling through. Thinking about keeping that yoga ball at the front. Maybe thinking about adding in a bit of rotation as you go. It's going to help to keep the shoulder in a more comfortable position. Lovely. And swapping sides. So fingers tip over and then pulling in, visualizing, catching that big wall of water. Remember, when we move ourselves forwards, it's about catching into the water and then pulling our body forwards through the water. So visualize yoga ball under there, making sure you've got that high elbow, then catching, and you don't have to do the whole movement, but pulling your body forwards. Lovely. So then we're going back into the push part. So just here, getting those triceps working, thinking about pushing that hand back, keeping the hand flat to the wall behind us, the wall of the swimming pool at the far end. So pushing the water back behind us. Skull 3, if you know it, the one where we've got those little otter arms, wings. What do otters have? Legs? Arms? Anyway, whatever an otter has that pushes back behind it, that's what you've got working right now. Feeling those triceps really working as you push back behind. Lovely, then we'll have a quick break from the stroke. Go back to our twirl sequence. So we've done Y, so we're done more, haven't we? Twirl, we never did a Y, sorry, it's got Y. So arms up to the ceiling, pulling the shoulder blades together and down. This is a tricky one as well. So you're pulling the shoulder blades together and down, feeling them engage, holding for a second or so before you release and go again. Good work. Then we're going to go back to that glute and core work. So into a plank or into a 4-point kneeling. And then from there, we're taking one leg up and doing that flutter kick. Not quite as fast as we might flutter away, but we can feel the glute working. We're working through our core as well in the plank position. If you need to take a break or if you need to take the knee down to the floor, go for that. Always make sure you've got good technique, you're protecting your back, not overdoing it. But otherwise thinking, yes, about the core, but also about getting that glute working as you push up towards the ceiling. Lovely, swapping to the other side. Trying to keep the legs straight. So working from the glute, not ending up bending it. Keep that leg straight. Pull the leg back behind you, or in this case, up towards the ceiling. Lovely. Back up again. And then let's take it back into the full stroke. So again, keeping it slow, controlled, tipping over the front, pushing the water back behind us. Feel that tricep working at the back as you pull back. So go at your speed, whatever works best for you. Adding in some rotation. Oh, that was definitely not a good elbow position there. So remember keeping that elbow high as you pull through. Last 10 seconds. So as I say, this shouldn't be too much of a strength workout. You might be using muscles that you haven't used for a while. You might be feeling things engaging certainly that you haven't felt working for a while. It shouldn't be working really, really hard though. This is about the technique, this part particularly, about the technique rather than the strength side of things. Back to that flutter kick. So just pulling the glute back behind us. When I'm working with people on this, they often think that they're doing it, but you actually see it's the leg going forwards, not back, or that it's the heel kicking back behind them. So make sure left thigh is separating from right thigh. You want those two thighs to separate out and use the glute muscle, the moving leg, to pull the leg back behind you. You should feel that bum working quite hard by now, making sure that you're keeping the pelvis neutral, so making sure it's not all just slipping forwards. Waistband stays here where it is as you pull that behind you. The waistband being that sort of proxy for your neutral pelvis, with your pelvis position. So you want to make sure, we imagine our pelvis is a bowl of water, you don't want to be tipping the water out the front each time the leg comes back. You want to keep it level. You're contracting the glute to pull the leg back. Really important in swimming, as I say, to make sure we're not pulling back with that bent knee, but also really important in running We want the glute to be working on a neutral pelvis. It's so much more powerful in that position. It's properly engaging. So we're getting the true potential of our running. So this is a good exercise to do for swimming or for running or just for general glute health. A little bit longer there. Lovely. Then we're going back to, if you have it, the slightly stronger bands, otherwise carrying on with the other ones. And we're just adding in a little bit of strength. So pulling in at the back there. Making sure that it's not about the elbows coming too far back behind you. If you go right to there, your shoulders start to come forwards and it can start to kind of irritate the front of the shoulder capsule. So it's much more about just pulling in to that point of engagement, but not trying to get the elbows too far back behind you. Working through those lats, those big muscles at the back. I was saying before that there's a kind of limit to body weight exercises you can do. The main body weight exercise you can do for the lats is a pull-up, but obviously that depends on whether you have something to do a pull-up on, scaffolding outside your house, and the strength to be able to do a pull-up. So lats are just that bit harder to do body weight. So at least doing something like this, even if it's not strong enough, I'd be doing, how many kilos if I was doing this in the gym, but at least I'm using the muscles, just keeping them active. Lovely. So just finishing off, obviously the main muscles, as I say, that we're using are the lats, to some extent the triceps, and you've probably felt the triceps, or you should have felt the triceps working in that last bit, that push at the back there. Your shoulders are obviously still an important muscle in swimming, so I'm going to put you on the floor. So what we can do body weight wise is that pike press, so coming up into that A-frame, like a plank with your bum in the air, and then we're sliding our head forwards ahead of our hands. So only work to your range. If you only get to there, that's fine, but make sure it's not just a press up with your bum in the air. It's not going up and down like that. It's about pushing forwards and controlling it. So we're working through the shoulders. Lovely. And then I just wanted to show you as well, if you have light weights in the house, and often we have light weights, but not necessarily kind of weights that we want in the house, but a really good way of engaging your shoulder muscles is if you've got just plates, holding them by the side, or if you've got a kettlebell, holding it upside down. This becomes a lot more unstable. So holding it like that and then really focusing on getting that shoulder joint working, so coming into the shoulder capsule, creating that stability through that whole chain there is actually, sorry, oh, phone started talking to me. So going like that, and then you could be doing lunges with that arm overhead, so you're introducing some instability, which makes sure your stability muscles work more, but you're also working through the shoulders. So it's a relative, what's that, 2.5K or something, relatively lightweight, but really good way of using it if that's all you've got in the house. Right, so hopefully that has helped to give you a bit of upper body. As I say, sorry it's not a full body workout, but can't use my right leg at the moment. Obviously this will be available on video, so play it back, just do some, if we do a little bit each week, just keeping that upper body engaged, get that mind-body connections working, then we're going to find it so much easier when we get back in the pool. So let's just finish with a bit of stretching. So we'll stretch, first of all, stretching, but let's do, so you can do this lying on the floor with your knees bent, or you can do it up against the wall, and we're just loosening up through the lats. So call it a wall angel or a floor angel, like a snow angel. Again, not forcing anything. If you can't keep the fingers and the elbows to the wall, just go to where you can, or to the floor, wherever you are. Just loosening up through there. Lovely. Then triceps, it's that good old fashioned exercise class tricep stretch. So taking your hand to your elbow, pushing up, so you're getting a stretch through the triceps there. Over onto the other side. And then for your lats, a really nice stretch. If you come back onto the floor and you kneel down, so you can have both legs forward. I've just got my leg out behind me because I can't bend it. And then stretching those arms out in front of you. So first of all, stretching out as far as you can. Feel that stretch all the way through kind of the back of the rib cage, even into the back of your, the underneath of your armpit. And then take one hand and reach it across your body. So I've got my left hand towards my right wrist, feeling that stretch. So I've got that stretch all the way up the body there. And to the other side. Stretching into the chest. So hands to the hips, you can be sitting, standing, whatever, pushing the elbows together, getting a good stretch across the chest. So I will be on slightly reduced capacity next week as well. So if you are signed up to the event, if you go to the event for this Thursday session or for the Tuesday session, Tuesday 6 o'clock, Thursday 1 o'clock, then I'll always post on the event if you need any additional kit. And I would imagine if we can just get a few weights or something for next Thursday, then that might be helpful so that we can do a bit more upper body rather than trying to do lower body, which I'm not so good at the moment. If you were looking to come for the 2.6 challenge that I was hoping to run on Sunday, I'm not sure if I am or not. So again, sign up to the event, and then if I cancel the event, you'll know about it. So hopefully 2.6 challenge this Sunday at 11, but sign up to the event, and once I've worked out what I can do with my leg or not, I will let you know on there. Okay, I hope you're all well. I hope you have a good week training, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Take care.